The crackdown on pro-democracy demonstrators in Beijing, China in 1989 left a lasting impression on many people around the world, and especially on Chinese-American novelist Terrence Cheng. VOA's Natalie Liu introduces us to the writer and his book, Sons of Heaven.
14 years ago, the world watched as pro-democracy students made their way to Tiananmen Square in Beijing, China. On June 4th, many hundreds died when Chinese troops sent to clear the square opened fire. The bloody crackdown is known in China as the June 4th incident and elsewhere as the Tiananmen Square Massacre. It inspired the book Sons of Heaven, written by Terrence Cheng, a Chinese-American born in Taiwan whose parents immigrated to the United States when he was a year old.
The novel is based on the Tiananmen Square Massacre of 1989, and the symbol of that massacre to the West in the United States is that young man who stood in front of the tanks. I was 17 at the time, and I remember wondering who that young man was. And eventually, as I grew older and became a writer, I decided that I wanted to try and discover who that young man might have been. So I've turned him into a character in my novel.
Mr. Cheng's novel imagines what goes through that character's mind as he stands alone in front of the tanks.
The lead tank stopped no more than 15 feet away. It was trying to maneuver around me. I slid along with it, could hear the treads and coils screeching and grinding. I tried to turn to the other side, and I hopped in its way. I thought I might be shot in the back or from the side. I stayed aligned with the nose of the tank's cannon, told myself this was not a humiliating way to die. I came to the United States in 1973, and I was born in Taiwan in 1972. So I came over as an infant, and I grew up as any American kid would in the suburbs, you know, very silly, very careless, and just trying to get good grades and make friends. And I didn't really have a sense of my connection to being Chinese. I knew I was Chinese, of course.
The images from Tiananmen Square, he says, startled and confused him.
It was just so shocking. It was the first thing that ever happened that not only made me connect to a feeling of and an understanding that I am Chinese.
In order to write his book, Terrence Cheng says he spent years researching and reflecting. I first want to find out the truth, he says, and then I want to study why it happened.
Why do I care about the Tiananmen Square Massacre? I do. I care because I feel like as a Chinese American, we are forced to live two lives. We're Americans, we're Chinese, we try to blend culture, history. We try to be good at both. The history aspect can only help you develop as an individual. I absolutely feel that it is necessary for writers to write about things that are first and foremost compelling to them, emotionally, psychologically.
Terrence Cheng writes full-time and also teaches writing at Lehman College, part of the City University of New York. Yet he chose not to include his own book in the reading list he gives his students. He says he wants the students to think and to feel for themselves. Natalie Liu, VOA News.